Hello everybody, welcome back to Sonia's Baking and Cocktails. I am Sonia. Today's recipe is going to be one of my family's favorites. Every time we have a party, I have to make this, and it's called the Alexander's pastry. The actual recipe dates back to 1800s, and the pastry was named after Alexander I, the Russian emperor. I've changed the recipe a little bit just to make it something that my family and friends like even more. And let's get started. Let's make a pastry. And of course, the cocktail. No, I did not forget. The cocktail is going to be one of my favorites, and it's going to be the margarita. So now let's get started. Okay, here we are. This is what you're going to need for your pastry. We have 200 grams of butter, which is 7/8 of a cup. Then we have one full and 1/4 deciliter of sugar, which is half a cup. Then we have one egg yolk. We have a half a teaspoon of baking powder and 5 deciliters of flour, which is about 2 cups. You're also gonna want to have a little bit extra flour because when we start to do the actual pastry or work with the dough, it's gonna be a little sticky and you need extra flour just to make it a little easier to handle. Then you're gonna need some kind of jam. The original recipe calls for raspberry. I myself use raspberry, but if you don't like raspberry, you can substitute that with whatever you like. The original recipe says for the icing of the pastry, use water and powdered sugar. I myself use chocolate. So I have white chocolate for the icing, and then I have a little bit of milk chocolate just to make a little bit of decorations. Not mandatory. If you don't want to decorate it, that's fine too. Or you can use whatever you want for the decorations. So that's it, pretty much it. Then you need some mixing bowls, baking paper, something to cook the actual pastry on, measuring cups, and electronic mixer is good too, if you have one. Okay. That's it. Let's get started. Okay, here we go again. Put the softened butter into the bowl once again. Make sure that it's soft and add the sugar. And then we mix. There you can see the sugar and the butter is nice and smooth. And then we add the egg yolk. Here it goes. And then we mix some more. There you go. After that, we're gonna add in the flour. I already have the baking powder in there, and I'm just gonna grab a little spoon, which I forgot, and then we're gonna add the flour in there. We're not gonna dump the whole thing at once. We're just gonna do it a little bit at a time, couple spoonfuls, 3, and then we're gonna mix more. Add a little more. There we go. Fall, please. There we go. I fell. Sorry. There. in the rest. And now the dough is ready. So now that the dough is ready, we're supposed to let it sit in the fridge for 15 to 30 minutes so it's cooler and easier to handle. Some people just stick this in the fridge. I myself like to do with the little bit of plastic just to make it a little bit firmer. So what I do is just take some saran wrap and let's see so that you can actually see this. Just pour the dough out. Use your hands. Just tap it a little bit. Makes it nice and firm. And then just, let's see. Not a big fan of saran wrap because it always gets stuck. So here we go. Just wrap it a little bit and then we're gonna put it in the fridge and let it cool off, like I said, 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, now that your dough is still in the fridge, you can preheat your oven to 175 Celsius, which is 350 Fahrenheit. And if you do happen to have a rolling pin, I think you call it, you might want to get yours out. If you don't have one, you can use a bottle or something just to help you roll out the dough. Makes it a little easier than doing it by hand. Okay, our dough is out of the fridge. So if you did wrap it in the plastic, you might want to unwrap it now. And it's nice and cooled off. And what you're gonna need for the we're gonna make two pieces of pastry with it, so you're gonna have to cut it in half. Sorry about that. And yeah, there we go. Get the other half out from the plastic. There we go. Caught up in there. I'm gonna put the other half on the side to wait for a while. And here we go, we have our dough. Now you might want to use your extra flour. Just put some on the baking paper. Let's put all this together. The flour makes it easier to handle, otherwise it's gonna stick to your hands pretty easily. And then I'm gonna take out my rolling pin, put a little flour on here, and then just roll it out. We are trying to make a square-shaped pastry. So we'll see how it goes. It's always different. You can actually pre-buy this dough in the store as well. Like, I think it's in the freezer section. I have used it before, like when you're in a rush and you have to make a pastry. That's fine, you can do it. You don't have to always make it from scratch. But I wanted to do it for you guys so you can see how you can make the dough. It's not that difficult. And then it's homemade. And I think you can always taste when something is homemade. As you can probably see, I have little holes in here. So I'm just gonna take out some dough from the sides and make it nice and not have holes in it. And we're trying to make it as even as possible. Some people like to roll this on a different like counter or like some kind of surface. I like to do it on the baking paper that I'm gonna bake it on, because if I don't, at least to me, this dough breaks down really easily. So if I try to transfer it after this, no, it's not gonna happen. Let's just say that. It's gonna be all over. So now you can see it's nice and even. Like I mentioned, we're trying to make a square shape here, because then we're gonna do the other one and they're gonna kind of have to fit on top of each other. And we're gonna put the jam in between. But I think this looks pretty good. It's never gonna be completely even. I've done this a million times, it's never been, but that's okay. Just as long as they're pretty much the same shape and size. And now you can put this on the side and do the same thing with the other part of the dough. Okay, here we are. Our pastries are ready to go into the oven. I bake them one at a time. The recipe calls for 15 minutes. I would check it a little bit sooner just to make sure that it doesn't burn. Okay, here we are. Our pastries are done. They're out of the oven. And now it's time to put it all together. So we're gonna start with the raspberry jam and just lay it all over the other part of the pastry. Just all over, like a nice layer. It's breaking apart a little bit, that's okay. Okay, there we go. And now comes what I think is probably the hardest part of the recipe, is getting this other piece on top of this without breaking it. And I have broken it so many times. It's a miracle if I get it on there without it breaking down. If it goes to like two pieces, like it breaks down in half, that's fine. You know, we're gonna cut it anyway at the end, but let's see how we'll get this done. It's really hard. You know what? Let me get a little spatula here to go. I think I already broke a piece. Yeah. You know what? This is what I mean when you're baking. You know, you might sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want, but that's okay. I think I'm just gonna flip it. Here we go. Yeah. Broke apart a little bit. That's fine. As you can see. That's okay. Just set it on here. This one came off here. There we go. Kind of like a pastry puzzle. So, you know, it's okay. Because now we're gonna pour on the white chocolate. So it doesn't even matter that it broke a little. It's gonna be all covered up. Where did I put that? Oh, here we go. Get the chocolate on there. And then just do a layer, just even it out. There you go. No one knows it broke except all you guys. That's okay. There we go. Scrape the chocolate on there, and there we go. And now to the decorations. Like I mentioned before, you can decorate, but you don't have to. What I told you I'm gonna use today is a little bit of milk chocolate. So I'm just gonna drizzle it on here. As you can see, it's a little bit thicker at some parts. That's okay. Make a little art, chocolate art. You can use sprinklers. You can, you know, whatever you want. Or just not use anything. That's fine too. I think the best part about using decorations, whatever you decorate, is you can hide the little imperfections, you know? If something doesn't frost the way you want it or whatever, you know, put a decoration on there and no one knows. There we go. I was thinking of using these toothpicks and just like sliding them over the decorations just to make it a little bit more interesting looking, but I think I'm gonna leave this like this. So now we're gonna let it set, let the chocolate set, and I'm gonna put it in the fridge, and then we're gonna cut it in a little while. Okay, here we are. Our chocolate is set, and we're ready to cut this. Whatever size pieces you want to make, that's fine. Just go for it. And there we go. That's our Alexander's pastries. Once again, you can freeze them if you want to. No microwave once again. And yeah, that was it. This is my family's favorite. I hope you like yours too. Okay, it's time for a margarita. Who doesn't love a margarita? I know I do. So what we're gonna use to make this very traditional margarita is tequila, triple sec, lime juice, and then sweet and sour mix. We're gonna have 3 parts of tequila, 1 part triple sec, 2 parts lime juice, and then 4 parts of sweet and sour mix. And I want to talk about a little bit about the sweet and sour mix. I could not find ready-made sweet and sour mix in Finland, so I made my own. I'm gonna post the recipe on Facebook if you want to check it out. It's very simple and very easy to do yourself too. I think it worked out really well. Of course, we're gonna need a little shaker. We're gonna need a glass. I don't have an official margarita glass, but we're gonna use the Sonja's cocktail glass. That's gonna work. Some ice, and then some lime and salt to rim the glass. So here we go. Oops, I would take that off, I don't know why. Let's put in the ice. Then we're gonna put in the tequila, triple sec, some lime juice, and then the sweet and sour mix. And we're gonna shake a little bit. There we go. And once again, I probably should have done the glass first. I don't know why I always do the drink first and then the glass. Oh well. I guess I'm so excited to be making a drink. Here we go. Then just dip it in the salt. Oops. In there. There we go. And there we go, margarita. So that's it, the Alexander pastry and the margarita. Things didn't go exactly as I planned today in the kitchen. I had flour all over my apron. I broke a glass that I didn't show you guys. The dough broke and I already spilled a little bit of my drink. But you know what? That's okay. As long as you're having fun, you know, things don't always go the way you planned in the kitchen or in life in general. So I hope you keep coming back for the recipes. I hope your family enjoys the Alexander pastry. I know mine will. And that's all I can say. Cheers, keep biz, and let's keep making a mess in the kitchen together next time too.